Hello, world, and what is happening? Jeff Cavanaugh here alongside my dearest friends, my scouting friends, the great Bryan Broaddus, the godfather of this whole situation, and the great Dane Brugler, the champion of the world, who Todd McShay is incredibly jealous of. And that's why they dropped a mock draft on the same day. So I thought we'd go over Todd McShay's mock today and maybe do Dane's next week. Here's Dane Brugler from The Athletic. How you doing, Dane?
But they're already outdated. So I mean, the Russell Wilson trade, the Carson Wentz trade, just they're already outdated. So
we'll do a new one on the fly. It'll be great. Good evening, Bryan Broaddus from 105.3 The Fan. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. Hey, I want to know a big TV star, man. How about a little cut for your buddies, Jeff and myself? You know, now you're making that TV money doing these things.
Right. Hey, I met with your guy Jerry Madelon. Gave me some tips. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what to do with my hands when I'm on the screen. So I worked through that, and it went pretty well. So
you got to do what Jeff does. When Jeff does the draft show, he gets real big. You got to spread
wide.
You got to get real wide, and you got to
power stance.
Open up. So yeah, you get it. You lean forward, you get real wide, and then you talk to the camera. You know, you tell the camera like, hey, this is why you need to take Burks. I'm telling you, don't worry about that 4.55. This is my guy right here. You know, you just open up, and that's Jerry would give you that. He'd give you that advice. But you did a hell of a job, kid. I'm really proud of you, man. You did.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, Jerry wouldn't give you any advice today because Jerry's busy today.
Good for Jerry. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick, and the story is that Plug and Play is an NFL draft show. It is not a paternity show. So we're just going to do what we're going to do. Thank you to Kilgore, who's kicked off the super chat. And he said, can't let formula beat me to the first super chat. Ha ha. Yeah, we got a race in this bad boy. Appreciate everybody who is a member of the channel, everybody who does do the super chats and all those things like that, because my livelihood is now that I'm a person on the internet. Woot, woot. Dane, you had a mock draft that came out. And I, for one, am furious that you went with Ike Ekwonu at number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars because he's my OT2. And so I'm furious. How realistic do you think Ike at number 1 is?
I mean, he's in the mix. Just talking with people in Indianapolis, I would say it was there's only 3 names mentioned when you talk to people in the league with other teams. I don't know anybody with the Jaguars, to be totally transparent, but my league buddies that I do talk to, there maybe 7 or 8 of them that I asked, and it was Ike got the most votes in terms of what they think is going to happen. Hutchinson got the next most, and then Evan Neal got some votes too. So I think all 3 of those guys are definitely in the mix. I don't think Cam Robinson being tagged has any bearing on it. But Icky's right there. When you talk about what he does on the field, what he gives you off the field, the intangibles, all of that, it all matters. And so, but I tell you what, they like Hutchinson a lot too. So it's by no means is Icky the clear front runner, I would say.
Dane, did your folks at the Combine, is all this stuff we're hearing about Thibodeau now, is it real or somebody trying to drive him down the board with these interviews and stuff and being maybe a little standoffish with some of the brass that he got to talk with at the Combine?
No, it's real. I mean, we talked about it before, how, he's just it's something that teams, especially if you're going to draft in top 5, you got to love him. You can't like him. You got to love him. And he's just he's not going to be for everybody with the way he comes off, and it is what it is. We kind of addressed it before, how there's plenty of non-humble superstars in this league, and that's okay. That's not a requirement. But if you're going to invest top 5 money in a guy, you better just be convinced with what you're getting. And I don't think a lot of teams are. So a team picking, and now he still could go top 5, but I think there's a better chance that a team picking 6 to 12 is going to get a pretty good player at a little bit of a discount.
Tarvis, appreciate you in the super chat. You're a monster. Wesley, thank you. Nick K, thank you. Kevin Kamek, thank you. Mazith, Thank you. He just loves Bryan Broaddus. That's what he's here for. And Nick
That's one
K.
reason I'm here.
Yeah, me too. Nick K wants first and second round predictions for the Dallas Cowboys. Well, Dane's mock draft will give us at least one of those, and so we can go over those bad boys. With Kayvon Thibodeau, it's like you said down to like maybe even 12. Is that the floor? Because I'm just trying to dream here. I'm trying to see how far he could get down there before as a
what else could I say?
Be like, hey, pick up the phone.
What else could I do to drive him a little further down the?
Is there any chance of a gas mask or anything like that?
Hey, we didn't think there was a chance of a gas mask when it happened the first time. So who knows? I think the Vikings, they pick a 12 now, but they've got a first-year general manager, first-year head coach. Would they have the balls to do it? I don't know. It's tough when you have a situation like this where it's every team's going to feel a little bit differently. So look at the Jets Jets and the Giants. Like I don't think he fits necessarily. But you look at Atlanta, that's a possible fit. Seattle now at number 9. That's something I think Seattle's fascinating because
Seattle is,
they're a team that obviously as soon as that trade was made, the Russell Wilson trade, you were automatically thinking, oh, okay, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, quarterback at 9. Look at their roster. It is terrible. Like they don't have a tackle on the roster. Okay. They need corner help in the worst way. Bobby Wagner, he's gone. Devin Lloyd's in the mix there. They don't have a big time pass rusher they can rely on. So Kayvon Thibodeau, Jermaine Johnson, one of those guys could be the pick. I think that Seattle, while they need a quarterback, obviously, their options are wide open there at 9. And I think Thibodeau, that'd be a possible landing spot for him.
Man, Seattle, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like Seattle is setting up for a tank job where you're not going to offer your head coach money to lose games. You're just not going to leave your head coach equipped to win games. Yeah. That feels like a team. And I wonder what Indy's going to do too, now that they moved on from Carson Wentz, where they don't have anybody.
Mr. Trubisky era about to start.
Oh, you think so? Mitchell?
It's Zimmer Garoppolo is my guess.
Who doesn't have a first round pick? Indy doesn't have a first round pick, right?
No, they don't.
So they have to trade for a quarterback without a first round pick. Oh, what an awful spot that is. That is absolutely horrendous.
Philly has their first round pick from the Wentz trade.
You know what? I'll tell you what, my guy John Snyder has done a poor job of drafting.
Terrible.
He has. He honestly has. He's done a terrible job of drafting.
But it's not just drafting. It's I think overall roster management. Like
they've done a bad job.
Jamal Adams trade is
a terrible thing,
haunting them.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if he tried to get into the Deshaun Watson derby. If all that stuff clears, maybe you get a quarterback that you don't have to pay the premium on. And I think the Texans are going to want premium. But maybe Snyder's got something better up his sleeve. Like, okay, I just moved on from a quarterback that's 33. I'm going to go get a younger quarterback that I can know and try and find a way to build around that guy. So I'd keep an eye on maybe at Seattle. Seattle and Tampa were the two teams that people seem to think are going to maybe get in this Deshaun Watson derby, if in fact that's the case.
Carolina, maybe
so.
That's another team I kept hearing. They're just desperate for a quarterback in Carolina.
Dallas wants to know, why don't the players run the 40 with helmets and shoulder pads? Probably because it would just be a hassle. And
the Raiders back in the Al Davis days for training camp, the Raiders timed their players in full pads. And that was the speed that they used. You got this GPS stuff now that all these that we're dealing with, and you could get speed and stuff like that. So we might not see the 40-yard dash very much anymore at the combine, especially if they're getting all these GPS speeds from these kids running in full pads.
It's fascinating. I met with my buddy. He is part of a analytic company they do all these different metrics, and he was running me through it, and it's fascinating. They're putting numbers to positional drills. So defensive linemen running the hoop drill. Like they're able to quantify the exact degrees of bend, and like it's fascinating. It's the future. It's what's coming in the next 3 to 5 years in terms of how we look at testing data for NFL players.
B Rich wants to know if there's an offensive tackle outside the top tier that could play guard well in the NFL. He's looking for efficient purchase power here to take a tackle who might not be an NFL tackle. It is interesting how many different guys that people want to move from tackle to guard. I had seen some idiots is a mean word. I'd seen some people that were like, yeah, Kwanu might be an NFL guard. And I was like, you're stupid. But I didn't say that out loud because that's mean.
I mean, he'd be a good guard, but I mean,
sure he would.
Yeah, I don't. It's not a Zach Martin situation where, he'd be this all-pro guard. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, he's a talent.
The three guys that I would kind of look at, because I think
Kennard.
There's 4. Kennard starts it. Mumford from Ohio State would be another one. Ryan from UCLA was a guard or tackle, could be a guard. And then what's our guy?
Georgia.
Sailor from Georgia.
Yep.
So,
that's the first name that popped into my head.
I think you've got on the board, you've got guys that are really like true guards. The first 3, however you have the combination of Johnson, Ingram, Green, whatever you got, however that combination is, those guys are like guard players to me. The other guys, like I say, the Kennard, the Mumford, the Ryan, those others, I think those are the guys that could probably that were the tackles that could probably play the guard on the other end. I look at, you talk about Penny from Northern Iowa. He's like 6'7", and I don't know if you want a guard. I mean, I'm trying to think in my mind of 6'7" guards. I know the Cowboys in the past, they tried. Who was our guy from Arkansas that was 6'10"? That was Jeff, he was in your backyard setting up the
I know. Yeah, he now owns a light company. He set up the lights for our coffee.
But anyway, they tried. Those are the kinds of things that they tried. But I don't know if you want a guy at 6'7" playing guard. I just don't.
Dan Skipper.
Thank you very much out there.
Skipper.
I just go the guard draft, and then if you want to maybe think about down the line, those other guys I mentioned, that might be the switch that you might want to make.
Well, and Penning, I think he's going top 7. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. So I don't think he's going to be in the conversation for the Cowboys anyways.
Ahead of Charles Cross then?
For some teams, I think it's very possible. Yeah.
Okay. And
I think
maybe four guys in the top 10?
Yeah, I think when you look at the top 10, some of these teams are going to, especially the Giants with 2 picks, they're going to, Carolina needs a tackle in the worst way. They're going to look at this draft and say, we don't really have that elite talent at the top, so we're going to take either a tackle or a pass rusher, where there's at least a high floor there. Like we feel like we know what we're getting, and so we're going to see 4 pass rushers, maybe 4 tackles, all go in the top 10.
Which makes it really interesting at the pass rusher spot, because I'm thinking perhaps later in this episode, one of the things I'd like to do is play a game with the Cowboys where it's like 3 positions that they're likely to target with their first 3 picks. Cause I think wide receiver is clearly becoming one of those. I think offensive line is one of those. And I think defensive line could be one of those. And boy, am I struggling to figure out where exactly to put all these edge guys. And I know a lot of them are going to go quick. So I got to find the ones that are realistically 3rd round guys that aren't going to be thrown all the way up into the top 50 because they're pass rushers. But in the meantime, Dane's mock draft, I've given you 1 pick. Ike Ekwonu, NC State offensive tackle, goes number 1. Aiden Hutchinson, the edge rusher out of Michigan, goes 2 to Detroit. And this one where, Dane, if you would like to take a bow, you told us a long time ago that you might be higher on him than most, but the world is catching up, because Trayvon Walker at Georgia, the defensive end, the edge, he destroyed the combine. And now how realistic is it that he goes before Kayvon Thibodeau, the Oregon guy?
Yeah, and I've been going to the combine a long time, and Saturday night watching the defensive line, the linebackers, the edge rushers, that is the most fun I've ever had watching combine. I mean, Brian, like these, they can drag at times. Sometimes it's just a chore.
It can
Yeah,
be tough.
but
Yeah.
that night, oh my! It started off with Jordan Davis, just
Yeah.
grizzly bear running down that 40-yard dash line, running at 4.7, which is just unbelievable.
Stupid.
I
Dane,
mean,
do you think we'll ever see that again? Do you ever think we'll ever see that? Is that one of those?
Yes, it'll become normal, Brian. These humans keep getting built weirder and weirder.
But no, it's amazing to me how fast this combine was.
well, and do you know why? It's because
the testing. It's got to be the testing.
No, they installed a new turf in the summer
Yeah.
of 2020, and we didn't have a combine last year, so this is the first combine with the new turf. So I think that's a big reason for this.
Yeah. I think the testing, Dane and Jeff, there's some scouts that say that maybe some ways that were fudged for these times.
Kind of got some rolling starts they might not have called
Well,
back.
yeah, because of the being on primetime TV, that the buzz is about guys running. And some scouts maybe felt like that they let some things kind of slide that they normally wouldn't have let slide when it came to running 40-yard dashes. Some scouts were talking about that.
Was the Steelers guy still running the line? Because he used to tell him, "Get your butt back here."
Yeah, Gorshak.
Yeah,
Mark Gorshak.
Yeah,
Gorshak. Yeah.
But Travon Walker was just, I mean, for a guy that's that size, 272, 6'5", 272, 35.5-inch arms, to have the testing that he did was just remarkable. It wasn't just a 40-yard dash. I mean, we're talking about an elite time in the 3-cone. His 3-cone was 6.89, which is unbelievable. Sky Moore had a 7.1.
Whoa! I will tell you this: there is no reason to come across
Sky Moore
lanes of traffic just to hit Sky Moore and his 4.39.
What did you have on that? What was that 3-cone on Sky Moore?
This is a Sky Moore podcast. So
no. What was the time again? Was it 7-1?
Receivers don't bend. It's not their job.
I think it was 7-1 something. Maybe
5'10" guy running 7-1. My gosh, what are we doing here?
Hey, I will tell you this: Sky Moore, who once upon a time was like number 80 on Dane's top 100 list, just went 49th in his mock. So my guy's getting some respect.
All right.
Chill out.
Dane did something. He and I had this discussion the other day about does Sky Moore fall inside the top 50 now? And you did it. I see what you did.
He has a very good chance to go top 50. I mean, it's not like a lock, but I mean, it's
56.
He has got a good chance. Yeah.
I want to go 56th.
But yeah, no, Travon Walker, 35.5-inch vert is unbelievable. 4.32 short shuttle. Yeah, he's got a legitimate chance to go top 3, top 5 in this draft. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of defensive linemen. All the Georgia guys. I mean, Devontae Wyatt,
one of them.
He 4.77 in the 40-yard dash is unbelievable. All the Travis Jones. If not for Jordan Davis, we'd be talking a lot more about Travis Jones at UConn and what he did. He snuck into my first round. I think he's a very real chance to go that high because just guys don't move like that, or they're not supposed to move like that when they're 325 pounds. 4.92 in the 40-yard dash, 7.33 3-cone is unbelievable. He was also great in the positional stuff. The hoop drill is unbelievable. So yeah, the defensive linemen just had a night, and the pass rushers and the linebackers too. It was a crazy workout.
Which made it even worse for Texas A&M's DeMarvin Leal. I saw his numbers where he ran like a 5 flat and he didn't jump well. And I'm like, man, a guy with inconsistent tape that's a tweener that was supposed to be a great athlete, didn't test as a great athlete. Could Leal fall as far as the 3rd round?
That's possible, sure. He went late 2nd in my mock to the Raiders, I believe. So, I don't see why he couldn't.
Okay, as we continue on, we've gone Iquanu to the Jags, Hutchinson to the Lions, Walker to the Texans, Evan Neal to the New York Jets, which I am sure Zach Wilson will appreciate. Sauce Gardner to the Giants at number 5. 6'3" corners are a lot. Normally I hate tall corners because I just feel like it's such a challenge for them to move and play man coverage. But in his case, holy cow, Sauce Gardner's really, really good. So
4.41, 40-yard dash. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, scooting.
Yeah.
Trevor Penning, number 6 overall, Northern Iowa to Carolina. The Giants at 7. Charles Cross, offensive tackle, Mississippi State. Not a bad little start to a draft for them, getting Sauce Gardner and Charles Cross. Kyle Hamilton, safety, Notre Dame to the Falcons at number 8. I've watched him and I get it, understand it because I see the plays where you're like, holy cow. I'm still creeped out by a guy that's that massive, and you're not going to ask him to play man coverage, I don't think, at least not very often. And like I see the really fun athletic traits, but is it weird that I'm a little bit scared of Kyle Hamilton?
No, I mean, Brian, I don't know how you feel, but you got to have a plan for him, like how you're going to use him in every situation. So I mean, I think he can play split safety. He could play single high safety. He could come down in the box. He can do all these things, but no, I agree with you. He's not a guy necessarily that you want covering man to man in the slot. Maybe against a tight end, I think he'd be fine. But I think you have to have a specific plan for him in every given situation. And that's just not something every defensive coordinator is going to want to deal with.
It's funny.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jeff. It's just so funny that, with Hamilton and stuff like that, there was a guy, and Dane, you might remember Taylor Mays. USC. And he was a big, like a 6'4", 220 something. Ran really, really great and all that. And he was just kind of a guy. He got in the league and he was just really kind of a guy. And, with Hamilton, I mean, I just see a guy that around the line of scrimmage, that's some of his best work. I just think I think somebody's going to kind of figure him out, because I kind of said he was an old school safety, with the way he's built, because nowadays you see these guys that really have range and can cover and all that stuff like that. But I didn't think this guy moved that badly. And I remember Taylor Mays being a big guy that was a little bit stiff moving. And I kind of think that Hamilton, you're kind of worried about those big safeties. And I think Hamilton, I think he'll be fine, but I think you're both right. You got to have a plan for how you want to play him in these schemes.
Maury's music is a regular contributor to the broadcast, and we appreciate it. He's looking for our favorite interior offensive lineman free agent, but this is Plug and Play, a draft show. So I just have to tell you that the answer is Zion Johnson. He's a free agent waiting to be picked. When you look at, and we'll keep going on the mock, we're 8 picks in. Dane, from the combine, when you look at Zion Johnson having an incredible day, I love his tape. I am now, I don't think you're supposed to do this with just a workout, but I am now teetering on the edge of calling Zion Johnson guard 1 over Kenyon Green, who didn't have a great workout. Yeah. Will you do that with the combine? Take the athletic testing and say, well, I did prefer Green, but now I might flip him.
I think that, I mean, especially from my perspective, when I just watching these guys in person and how they move around, like it's kind of an eye opener. And it depends on how close you had them going in. If you had them fairly close in grade wise, then I don't think it's a stretch to all of a sudden reevaluate how you're stacking those guys. And I'll be honest with you, as much as I love Tyler Linderbaum, Zion Johnson belongs in the interior offensive line 1 category. He's at least in that conversation. He is that good, because tape, check. Senior Bowl, check. Combine, check. You talk to him and you feel better about yourself. He's that type of guy. Just with the way he comes across and his personality. So yeah, I think that's totally fair. In my mock, I didn't have to worry about the Cowboys pass down because he didn't make it to 24.
Son of a! I hadn't gotten that far, Dane. Why would you do that to me?
Just teasing a little bit.
What a jerk. Pat wants to know if I'm going to do any live mock drafts. Pat, if you've followed this channel, by the time the draft gets here, I will have done 13,000 mock drafts live on this channel. So if you're into that, subscribe. B Rich, who's the latest sleeper who might stick? Is there anybody that jumps out like from the combine that you were thinking day 3 or maybe a 3rd round guy that you went, ooh? Oh yeah, Sky Moore. Yeah. There's one. Yeah.
Can I give you a guy? And I know, Jeff, we talked about him on the draft show that we do, with DallasCowboys.com. But I'll tell you what, I think more people need to kind of figure out this Cincinnati receiver, if you already have.
Alec Pierce.
Yeah. Seriously, I know I've talked about him, but I think people are sleeping on him a little bit right now. And when you start to talk about the other, and even before the combine, I'm like, you're watching the quarterback, with Cincinnati throw, and who's he throwing the ball to? Alec Pierce. I mean, it's just constant. I mean, play after play after play. I'd like to see, I'm gonna throw that name out there right now, because when this kid comes into the league and is an outstanding player, and you're like, oh, I remember, I heard his name on, on our show. So, plug and play. So I just want to, that's a guy to me that I don't think people are giving nearly enough credit to.
Where do you have him?
I have him in the third round. Yeah. I have him in the third round, but
that's where I have him.
And that was even pre-combine. That was all pre-combine stuff. So I've kind of got receivers in that second. I don't do and I know it's like the Dane Brugler method of the 2 and the 3.
I cheat. I do cheater grades.
I just stick him in the 2, or I'll stick him in the 3. And in all actuality, he probably, for me, should be higher in that 2 right now. But the play, all that in the where I saw him, it's 6'3", he's 211 pounds. You watch him just make play after play after play. I'm just a name you need to kind of keep an eye on, I think.
Back to what the original question was. What it was? A sleeper. The cornerback from Sam Houston State, Zion McCullum.
Boy, this guy, he had a combine.
He had an all-time combine. Like the type, and I honestly did not see this coming based on it. Like, he's a good athlete, not a bad athlete by any means, but a guy that's 6 foot or 6'2", 200 pounds, running a 4.33 40-yard dash, a 6.48 3-cone. Like, anything under 7 seconds is well above average. He got under 6'5". That's mind blowing. That he did that at that size. 39.5-inch vert, 11-foot broad, 3.94 in the short shuttle. You're getting under 4 seconds in a short shuttle. That's freaky numbers. So Zion McCullum, he's a guy that created a ton of buzz for himself based on the combine. And I mean, yeah, we need to have more conversations about him based on what he did.
King Shadow said Sterling Weatherford from his pro day. Is that made up, Dane? Is that a real name?
That is Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio did today. It was a pro day today, right?
Yesterday. He's actually, and I got the pro day pulled up in front of me. He's the late round version of Kyle Hamilton. He's an oversized safety. He was 6'4", 224. Let's see, he ran 4.59 in the 40, 36-inch vert, 9.9 broad. Good sized player. I surprised he didn't get a combine invite. I thought he was at the Senior Bowl. He's a good player. I think he's draftable. So good name to keep on the radar.
All right, I got some more super chats to get to, guys. Hang tight, I'll get right to you, but we're going to keep ripping through this mock draft a little bit. Quick recap: Jacksonville, Iquanu Hutchinson to Detroit, Trayvon Walker to Houston. You can find this on theathletic.com, by the way, and you should actually go to the mock draft and subscribe to The Athletic from that article so that Dane gets credit. Evan Neal at 4 to the Jets, Sauce Gardner at 5 to the Giants, Trevor Penning to the Panthers, Charles Cross to the Giants, Kyle Hamilton to the Falcons, and Kayvon Thibodeau, the slide of Kayvon Thibodeau, ends at number 9 to the Denver Broncos, which, he's just really interesting because it's stuff that, at least in my case, I hear from people, but when you just turn on the tape, you're like, man, maybe number 1 overall. So I'll be incredibly interested to see how that entire career plays out. And then Jermaine Johnson, the Florida State edge to the New York Jets at 10. So here we go, Dane. All the edges are going off the board in the top 10.
That's it. Edges and tackles. I think when it comes down to it, that's what teams are going to feel comfortable drafting in this draft. Quarterbacks are just they're a coin flip. Now that doesn't mean that Seattle at 9 or maybe even Carolina at 6. It's still possible to take a quarterback, but I think we're going to see tackles and pass rushers kind of rule the top 10.
At number 11, the Commanders go with Kenny Pickett. Although I'll tell you what, now that they have traded for Carson Wentz, would they Do you think that makes it more or less realistic they take a quarterback? Like, do you think they're throwing their eggs in the Carson Wentz basket, or could you still pick one?
Based on the draft picks they gave up, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like we talked about this last year when the Panthers traded for Sam Darnold. Could they still draft Justin Fields at number 8 or whatever pick they had? And kind of just double down on quarterback and just try to get it right. And so it's possible, you can't rule it out, but it's much more likely that they go away from quarterback now at pick number 11. And it makes it really, really interesting because, I mean, Carson Wentz, we saw him in Indianapolis and they didn't make the playoffs and he was part of the reason why. So I don't know if you're Washington, I'm not sure how you're feeling great about the trade.
Not many teams can beat Jacksonville on the road to make it to the postseason. Wasn't that Indy who choked it up?
That was Indy. Yeah.
That's the last place you want to go in December.
Exactly.
Sunny Jacksonville.
That's what they always say is don't ever go to Jacksonville on the road with the playoffs on the line. Brian, you agree with that they'll
Absolutely,
be skipping quarterback?
Yeah. You know what? It's funny that the Commanders, they have a fundamental problem and they can't evaluate quarterbacks. And the best one they've had, they hated, and they sent him off to Minnesota is what they did, And so, I think that if you look at what they've done, it goes all the way back to Haskins. They thought they had a player there and, it didn't work out really at all. So, yeah. And, Ron Rivera, I wonder, Ron Rivera, give him credit for going in there and cleaning some things up, maybe with the football operation stuff, but it's still him and Marty Hurney, and they, there's that defense really let them down last year. I mean, really let them down. And people say, well, maybe it's because of the quarterback, maybe they were in that in the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. They're trying to give the 3 1s. If you're giving 3 1s for a quarterback, what that's telling me is that you're desperate to keep your job, because if you get the quarterback and it works out, you keep your job. If it doesn't work out, you get fired, and that's somebody else's problem. So to me, they tried, but then they end up with Carson Wentz. I have a feeling you're going to get exactly what you deserve bringing Carson Wentz onto that football team. Not very good play.
I'd also just like to laugh at your friend John Schneider real quick, because
he's a bad drafter.
Yeah. It was 2 1s to acquire Jamal Adams, and he got 2 1s for Russell Wilson. Very similar value there. Box safety, who's actually an edge rusher and a franchise quarterback. Okay, we move along in the draft. Derek Stingley, go Tigers, to Minnesota at number 12.
I think that's a good thing. If Patrick Peterson signs back at, we were talking about Stingley. If Patrick Peterson signs back with Minnesota, everybody's telling me the thing about Stingley is he's not an alpha male. He's a guy that needs to have like a big brother or a leader or somebody to help him along. If in fact they got 2 LSU guys there, I think that would be the best fit in the world for Stingley to go. Because if you want him to be that top dog, lead dog in the sled, that's not him right now. But if he has somebody he can kind of latch on to and kind of learn the ropes, they say that's going to make a lot better for him going forward. Minnesota might be a great fit.
Garrett Wilson, 13 to the Cleveland Browns, which I really enjoy. I like that he's the first receiver off the board too, because he is currently my favorite receiver in this class. Although I got to tell you, sorting out the top of this receiver group is tough.
Everybody's going to have different guys.
Your fifth guy is like really good.
Yeah.
No matter who it is, your fifth guy is going to be really good.
It's Sky Moore. But
there you go.
Not anybody else's fifth guy.
So your 7th guy is really
Don't
good.
Don't feel bad, Jeff. I don't like Zion Johnson. Everybody else likes him. So
yeah. Well, I've always said Bryan Broaddus, noted Boston College hater. It's been something you've been all along.
I am a BC hater.
Jordan Davis.
Luke Kuechly. I hated Luke Kuechly when he was coming out of college.
Jordan Davis all the way up at 14 after that combine to the Baltimore Ravens. Philadelphia Eagles at 15, Trent McDuffie, which the one question about Trent McDuffie, the Washington corner, who's really, 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 really good, is going to be that he has T-Rex arms. And so people are going to say, can you play outside with short arms? And
he can.
I agree.
He can.
I agree.
Yeah.
But if not, do you just move him into the nickel and be like, sorry, you're short and you don't have long arms. Take your
He
butt
can
inside.
do it. So yeah.
He
Okay.
makes plays, man. I talked to teams about him because they were worried about him coming in under 5'10". Everybody was worried about him coming in under 5'10". And I was like, oh, really? And you're like, yeah. If he comes in at 5'9", something like that, that's not good. But he came in at 5'10", I think was the height he came in at. So,
It's the sub 30-inch arms. That's what is kind of a. But I tell you what, I heard from more than a few people that said they were measuring a little short. They thought with the arm length this year. So
there you go. He's got 33.
Don't be surprised when he's 30 and an eighth at his pro day.
Hey, trust
gets
me,
over that 30 threshold.
Just send me to go time guys at 38 yards and get longer arm lengths. We could do all this.
Well, that's what Wisconsin was doing today. I got a text from a scout saying, like Wisconsin's official Twitter was like, "Oh, 4.33," and this guy's a 4.32, and a scout told me that his fastest time that he had today was 4.48. So it's
running downhill, man. That McLean Center are going to run him downhill, right?
Wait, is that where Leo Chanel busted off like a 3.9 short shuttle and something like that? Like he was ripping off numbers that were insane.
I'll let you know when I get the official numbers, probably tomorrow morning. So
George Karlaftis to the Eagles at 16. So their 3 picks are going to be Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, the Purdue edge, and Chris Olave, Ohio State wide receiver, to the Eagles at 19.
Not bad.
Good haul.
Ojabo, the Michigan edge, to the Chargers at 17. Malik Willis, quarterback at Liberty, to the Saints at 18. And here's where Dane ruins everything with Zion Johnson at 20. What's the woo-hoo-hoo? What are we woo-hooing? We woo-hooing Malik?
I'm proud of you for putting Willis with the Saints, man.
Why?
That's my I love it. That's my sleeper second team. So I love Willis going to the Saints.
Well, they got to do something at quarterback.
You did good. You did good. Okay. You put the right quarterback there. Way to go.
We're creeping towards the Cowboy pick. We're 20 in. Let me knock out some super chats here. I appreciate everybody who sends them. It's actually how Bryan and Dane get paid for this. If you don't send them, then I'm not sending them any money. That's kind of how this works. Tyler wanted to know biggest surprise or disappointment from high film grade to poor combine performance. And the only one that jumps out at me, I guess, is Kenyon Green. And it's not like he had a bad combine. He had an okay combine, while a lot of people had really good combines. Do you have a bad combine that jumps out at you? DeMarvin Leal, I guess.
What about the situation with the 2 linebackers, Dean and Lloyd? Was that considered bad for those guys?
See, Dean's official was like a 4.66, and I'll be honest, my notes never said runs like the wind. Like
Dean didn't work out. Well. I don't think. I'm pretty sure Dean didn't work out.
Yeah, and if he did,
but the measurements and stuff, you knew he was short, right? I mean, maybe so.
Yeah. Lloyd, that was surprising.
I was thinking, okay, the height on Dean got confirmed, and then the stuff with Lloyd, I don't think Lloyd's numbers were all that great for what we thought he was going to be.
I'd tell you, Lloyd, that was surprising. I see an explosive player on tape, and he did not really test that way.
Yeah.
The main one here is a guy we'll talk about at 24, so I'll save that. But David Bell from Purdue, like he wasn't expected to run all that well, and he didn't. I think that Roger McCreary, if you're gonna be small and have shorter arms, you better run well, and he didn't. That's gonna hurt him. Kyler Gordon from Washington's a guy that we talked up as gonna light it up, and he didn't. So there were definitely a few guys that. Your boy Ed Ingram, Bryan, he had a disappointing workout.
Bryan.
But I tell you, the tape's good. So I don't think it's time to panic or anything because the tape is good. But I was surprised with Ed Ingram.
And that answers actually the next question from Preston, which is, have things cooled on Kyler Gordon after the combine, the Trent McDuffie teammate? I'll be honest, when everybody said he was going to light up the combine, I went back to my notes because watching both him and McDuffie, I was like, why am I hearing that Kyler Gordon's the super athlete when on tape I think McDuffie is the faster?
Scouts say the same thing, man. Everybody told me watch Gordon. They all to a man. They were all saying that, And again, that's why I look at these times and stuff, and I get it. It's part of it. That time goes on a tag. My eyes watch the tape. That's all I can say. You know, I mean, like I feel like though that there's a lot of these guys that, you know, if you go through the history of the combine, the fastest guys at positions, there's a lot of guys that never really played in the league. So that's, you know, I mean, I know it's part of it. I get it. I'm not just poo-pooing.
You have to be fast enough to play in the NFL.
Exactly. I mean, to me, I watched that Arkansas kid play wide receiver, and if he runs 4.55, great, whatever. He plays fast enough. He gets away from people. He runs. He's tough. You know, there's certain things you just have to. I'm not saying just completely turn away, but I think sometimes we just get so wrapped up in that. And
Let's see if we end up talking about that guy here in a second, Brian. Soto man, fun question for you guys. McClay and Steven love drafting teammates. Who would be your dream realistic duo? Just pick 2 Georgia guys.
Seriously.
How about Nakobe Dean in the first and George Pickens, the wide receiver, in the second? Something like that. Just give me 2 Georgia cats. I'll be good.
You could do so many combinations with, you know, Lewis Seen or Devontae Wyatt, or I mean, you go on and on with
Quay Walker,
Georgia.
Channing Tindall.
Oh yeah,
maybe
Sawyer,
even Darion Kendricks. Whoever. There's lots of options. Georgia is the answer. Josh, not a popular opinion, but what about taking the punter from San Diego State Areza in the 5th or 6th? You're barking up.
You won't be there.
Yeah, okay. Well, damn it, you're barking up the right tree, though, because I watched 3 San Diego State games just to watch when they punted. Not on tape. Not on tape, in real life. Amanda did sidelines for them once or twice.
Sidelines, yeah.
And she told me, she was like, they have this punter who had an 80-yard punt. And I was like, no, they don't.
He is something, man. He is something. He might go 3rd round because teams are going to look at him as a defender in this class.
Weapon. He's a weapon.
A defensive weapon because of how he can pin teams back. So, don't be surprised if he ends up in the top 100.
Strolls says, congrats on the show. Late round running backs Dallas may take. I don't know, but you can sign me up for that because Pollard's in his last year. And if it's up to me, this would be the final year of Mr. Elliott on the team. So if you guys have a 4th or 5th round. Hey, what's up with the guy, Sincere McCormick? Is that his name? He's up at Exos, and I saw him working out, and he looked good.
Yeah, I'm not the right person to ask because I'm not a fan.
Okay,
I think
give me a guy.
McCormick did not make my top 20 running backs. What about
Dane, tell me about what you thought about. Did you look at Kerryon Williams from Notre Dame?
Yeah, talk about a rough combine.
He was bad. He was bad in that.
He was
bad. Running back had a bad combine too. Would you pick him?
That was a little expected. He wasn't. I think he was going to run in the 4.6s. But yeah, I think Pierce is awesome. But I tell you what, with Kyron Williams from Notre Dame having that rough combine, maybe you can get him in the 5th now. And if you can, jump all over it. He's one of the better 3rd down backs in this class because
that's what I kind of thought. I mean, I was watching him. I watched him the other night, and I was kind of thinking, this dude catches the ball. He's tough. He's got some balance. He kind of like the
pass pro.
Like little bit holes. I mean, he gets through. He's not afraid to pass block. I kind of liked his tape. I had him in the 4th round because of the tape. But I mean, I was pretty impressed with the way he was catching the football, the way the physicality. I mean, you get down the goal line. I think it's against North Carolina or so. He's just like banging off people, spinning around. I know he's 5'9.5" and 194 pounds, but kind of liked him as a guy that if you hand him the ball, he was going to make some things happen.
Keep an eye on the two Baylor running backs too, Abram Smith and then Tristan Ebner, who's a back-to-back Big 12 special teams player of the year. So gives you that versatility that you look for on day 3 too.
Rapid fire Mazeth with the borderline offensive message here. He said, I wish Washington kept their old team name, but changed the logo to a pale ginger with a bad sunburn. Taj, what is Dane's opinion on DTR QB from UCLA? Is that just the quarterback from UCLA?
Yeah, he went back to school, so he is not in this draft. But I did do a little bit of work on him because I thought he was going to be in this class. I mean, he was right to go back to school. He's small and he's inconsistent, but I mean, he's a playmaker. He played at Vegas. Their Bishop Gorman, that powerhouse high school they have there in Vegas. He's got talent. He's just consistency has not been his friend as a passer and as a runner. So glad he went back to school. Hopefully he has a big 2022, and we're talking about him at this time next year as a draftable guy.
King Shadow, odds of Jordan Davis potentially still falling to 24. Not a lot of teams value nose tackle that can't pass rush. Does that drop his value? No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance. When you're that big and you move like that, someone's going to draft him top 20. I would say top 16 is where he's going. Somewhere.
You picked the right team. Didn't you have him with the Ravens on your mock?
Yep. It's
every time. I wish I was a Baltimore Ravens fan because they get every good player in the draft.
I had the Ravens going.
Every player I've ever wanted. Yeah, well, Cincinnati is running my team, but every player that I've ever wanted sitting in a draft room, Ozzie and those guys pick them every time.
Hey, how do you think I felt growing up?
Baby.
Yeah, growing up a Browns fan, watching the Steelers drafting who they draft and the Ravens drafting who they draft. Trust me, it wasn't fun. But I had the Ravens drafting Jordan Davis in the first and then Lele in the second. So that's a lot of mass going to Baltimore in that scenario.
UT 2005, thank you. Brandon greatly appreciates all we do. It's cool. You're all mostly buddies. I grew up in Chicago and had 0 friends that were Cowboy fans. So we're his friends. Okay, back to the mock. We're getting close to the Cowboys. 21, Devin Lloyd, linebacker, Utah, to the New England Patriots. 22, Drake London, wide receiver, USC. He is a big old, tall, nifty man. 23, the Arizona Cardinals, Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle, Georgia. And at 24, the Dallas Cowboys select Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas. And I got to tell you, I got no problem with it. And his combine bothered me. I'm not going to say 0, but about that much. Where it's like, okay, so he didn't jump quite as high as I thought, and he didn't run quite as fast as I thought. But I've watched him run on tape. I've watched him jump on tape, and I ain't too worried about it. Am I crazy?
No, I don't think so. I was told that like towards the end of the season, he was about 240 pounds. Going into training, a lot of emphasis was on losing that weight, getting in the right shape, and maybe it wasn't 100% on the exact technique you need for training in some of these drills. And
can I interrupt you real quick? Is
Absolutely.
That something that as a team, Brian, you're going to do due diligence to figure out, wait, is this perfectly normal for guys to get big right after the season ends? Or do we have a work ethic thing? Like that's something you're going to look into, right?
No, you're absolutely. And with the Cowboys, with their situation too, with Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones being Arkansas alums, Stephen Jones's son is a quarterback on the Arkansas football team. They're going to know every single thing about Treylon Burks. I mean, they don't worry about it. They if he did something, if he went to Wiener Schnitzel too many times, or he went to this or did that, or whatever he did in college that we do as a college student, they're going to know about it. So I wouldn't worry about them not having everything about whether his weight goes up and down and how that all plays out.
With Burks, I am eager to get the official times just to see where his flying 20 ranks, because I think he didn't have a great start, but that flying 20 I think should really among the wide receivers certainly be up there. So I'm eager to get that info.
He's 6'2", he's 225. He's hell in the screen game. He's hard to tackle. His route tree was fairly elementary at Arkansas, but you're going to have to deal with that dude when the ball's in his hands. You're going to have to deal with that dude when the ball's in the air.
Well, that's the thing about, real quick. I mean, when you watch him play, that quarterback was not accurate throwing the ball at all. And there's times where he gets hung out and he has to make plays high, low, behind him. It doesn't matter. I mean, that guy's a gamer. I mean, you watch him play and you can see those SEC games. They're trying to take him. I mean, this at one time was the 8th best team in the country before they went to Georgia and got beat. But it was clear that Georgia said, we've got to keep this guy from beating us, in these games and stuff. So he's a guy that these opponents knew, and he was probably the best player that Arkansas had, in my opinion, when you look offensively what they were doing.
Nobody in the SEC had more 20-plus yard plays last season than Traylon
And
Burks.
he caught all of those at the line of scrimmage.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It was all yak. It was all catch and run stuff.
Yeah.
So no question.
Prince said, any thoughts on if DK Metcalf will be traded this offseason? I'm going to say no, sir. Maybe Tyler Lockett, though, because I do think they're blowing it up, but I bet you keep DK Metcalf. And have the Eagles shown any interest in Stingley? Dane, you have 3 seconds to answer that.
Who in Stingley?
Have the Eagles shown any interest in Stingley?
Yes, they have. So he'll be in the mix there at 15 if he's available.
Now, Dane, this one you also have 10 seconds for. Draftable graded kickers. Ralph wants to know. He wants the Cowboys to move on from Greg the Leg.
Well, we got Dicker the kicker over in Austin for the Longhorns, and Brian, tell us about your LSU kicker. He might be the top guy this year.
Yeah, my guy Cade York. I mean, he's a
Hey,
clutch
Boomer
guy.
Sooners got a kicker too, guys.
Yeah,
He's okay,
Cade York.
yeah.
He's clutch, man. Cade will. I mean, if you go back 2 years ago or so when they're playing Florida in the swamp and it's raining, they have to have like a 58-yard field goal. Boom, knocks it dead through the middle. So. Yeah, Cade's been a very, very reliable guy throughout his career at LSU.
Do you see Calvin Austin as a good enough route runner to be more than a gadget player? I think he could be more than a gadget player, but he also is a gadget player. Like, there's no reason not to give him the gadget stuff with his little 5'7", 170-pound self.
Yeah, you have to be okay with the size, and that's not every team's going to be okay with it. But in the right role, man, he could be a fun player for you. He could be productive. He had a killer combine.
4.32, I think. He went fast.
There's some flying. Yeah.
King Shadow wants Cade York and Matt Araiza in the 6th. There you go. Get those special teams going.
Not getting them.
Load them up. Yeah.
Bernard Raymond, the Central Michigan offensive tackle to the Bills at 25. This is Dane Brugler's mock draft for the Athletic. Jameson
Bills fans
Williams.
did not like that.
Who didn't? Oh, Bills didn't.
Bills fans, no. They want a receiver.
Did they want to throw you through a table?
Yeah, I felt like it. Yeah, on Twitter.
You gave me a former Central Michigan tight end in the first round. Jameson Williams, wide receiver, Alabama at 26. Kenyon Green, the guard from A&M to the Bucks at 27. Travis Jones, Connecticut, defensive tackle to the Packers at number 28. I think they'll have to cut their whole defense if they want to trade or tag Devontae Adams. So that could make sense. Dolphins, Nakobe Dean. Look at these guys at the end of the first, just getting these good
I know.
players.
I was the quality of player when you started with Williams from Alabama, the wide receiver, and you start naming the guys. I'm like, good pick. Good pick. Seriously, that's what it happens every damn time. These teams that win in the playoffs and have great seasons, they get the best players. It just
they let all the other teams screw it up, looking for valuable positions or the perfect player
it up in front of them, and they're like, seriously, when you said Williams, I immediately went, that's a damn good pick. You know,
so 29 is Nakobe Dean going to the Dolphins. So it's like, oh, yeah, he's not tall enough to go in the top 20. He's not whatever. And at 29, you're like, wait, what? We can actually have him? Sweet.
Yeah. Zach Thomas was a pretty good linebacker for them, and he wasn't very big. So
no, he wasn't. It was short. Yep.
Lewis Seen at 30, the Georgia safety who had a really nice combine to the Chiefs there at 30. Tyler Linderbaum to the Cincinnati Bengals, which Brian should appreciate. Joe Burrow.
I love the Bengals. Yep, the Bengals. That's good. There you go.
Burrow
did that arm length did that scare you, Brian?
You know what scares me? That this guy has so many deficiencies that he plays great on tape. That's what scares me. He's short, he's light, he's short-armed, and he's an all-freaking American. You know what I'm saying? That's what scares you as a scout. You're like, there's nothing physically you like about that player. Nothing. And
except the results every time he blocks.
Second-level blocks and blah, blah. I mean, you're just watching him play, and you're like going, I've never seen a player overcome more deficiencies and be really good at their job as this kid. I've never seen one. I don't have one.
He's very good.
31 and an eighth arms. It's just when you're facing a defensive lineman that's 34. I mean, it just comes down to math. I mean, it's tough. But he's a good player. I agree. So it's tough.
Is that the end of it? Is that you can't see him going out of the first round?
I mean, it sure is possible. Yeah, because there's only 4 or 5 teams that would draft him in the first round. So
Philadelphia?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't think they're
that's a team. I think they were 73% run gap scheme stuff.
Kelsey hasn't retired. They drafted Landon Dickerson in the second last year, so it's not like
They put him at guard.
Yeah, but he might be their future center if Kelsey retires, and Kelsey hasn't shown any indication that he is. So I don't think the Eagles would take him, though.
Mazza, thanks for reading the message. Love listening to you guys talk. It's the only way I can get Cowboys and Mavericks sports talk living in Washington State for the last 2 years. You're welcome. It's the power of the internet. And thank you so much for contributing to the broadcast. You're a monster. And somebody said, did we answer the Daniel Bellinger question, which I didn't see? Who's Daniel Bellinger? Is that a person?
San Diego State tight end. Had a pretty good combine.
All right. He's a person.
Did I hear Dane did a lot of scouts? Why would Daniel Jeremiah, guys like that are talking about him? Is he up there? Is he?
The
UCLA tight ends. I like the UCLA tight end myself.
Definitely. I mean, Bellinger's maybe talk about. I don't know. I probably doesn't get into day 2, but early day 3, he's a guy that you start to talk about. He ran like a 4.63 at his size, which is pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he was not productive in college. He's a developmental wide receiver or a tight end. So Bellinger's a good player. I don't know that we're gonna put him up too high.
I'm a Trey McBride man myself when it comes to the tight ends.
Dane, do me a favor.
What?
Pronounce the UCLA kid's last name, the tight end.
Dulcich.
Yeah, because Brian kept cussing, trying to say his name.
I kept saying, you know what? Dulcich.
He kept saying Dulcich. Something like that. He just couldn't get through it without.
I could not. I hope the Cowboys don't take him because I still can't pronounce his name. We've all worked together long enough. You know how much I jack these names up. You know what I'm saying? It's a tradition. It's a tradition like no other. It's like the master.
If you saw his hair and his mustache, trust me, you would want the Cowboys to draft him. It's impressive.
There you go.
Michael checked in late and just wanted to know who the Cowboys got. And the answer was Treylon Burks. And Desmond Ridder goes number 32 to the Lions. And then I just scroll down to number 56 to see that the Cowboys take Chad Muma, the Wyoming linebacker.
Who did Jacksonville take at 33? I'm curious.
Quay Walker, Georgia linebacker.
Because I'm trying to trade to where I can move up in the second round with Amari Cooper to Jacksonville. So I'm trying to go from my spot at 52 to 33. So I might have to do it with Amari Cooper.
Okay, and if you did, all right, let's have fun. If you did that and you already drafted Treylon Burks, I think you would be looking for ideally an offensive lineman, but this is my second round pick, so I have to, because I won't get him in the third, I have to take Sky Moore here. So that makes life difficult. I've gone receiver. Kaiir Elam would be a fun pick. Maybe Darian Bernard.
I'd take Daxton Hill.
Yeah.
You guys are clowns. Nobody said Daxton Hill?
You're a clown.
I just said Daxton Hill.
He goes 34th, Brian. He goes 34th. I know where Ed Ingram goes.
I hated leaving Daxton Hill out of the first, but it's safeties. We just don't see safeties go high, so it's possible.
Daxton Hill is going to be a great player for somebody. Mark my words.
Oh, 100%. He's an awesome nickel, and
we'll be watching NFL football, and Dax Hill will make a play, and I remember on Plug and Play they were talking about this guy. You're damn right we were.
I think it's real weird that you're pretending that us two hate Daxton Hill or something, Brian.
I do. I just thought I'd jump in there on this.
You guys haven't mentioned him. You're stupid idiots.
Hey, this is my 6th hour of talking about stuff. I feel like I'm doing the draft with you guys right now.
Yeah, but this is the easiest hour. Talking the draft is the easiest thing ever.
For sure.
The dessert after the meal.
Tell me about it.
Do you guys have any parting shots?
What was your favorite pick in the first? What pick did you dislike the most? If you can, I don't know, you probably can't remember all those picks, but did any of them stand out?
I would say my favorite is going to be Nakobe Dean at number 29 because I just think that's going to be great value and it's going to work out really well for them. And I'm with the Bills fans that I don't love Bernard Raymond. I get it. Super good athlete, big enough and all that. But first round, I'd be kind of scared of that.
The one that bothers me, guys, I mean, I'm scared of because I don't know, is our Michigan defensive end, Ajobo. I'm struggling with that one. I mean, I struggle a lot of things, but that's the one that I'm kind of like, that's either got yes or we just got fired, kind of deal. I mean, that's the pick that just scares the F out of me, if you want to be honest.
Actually, I hate Trayvon Walker in the top 3. I've always said that guy not very good, Dane.
Hey, the amount of people that have woken up after Trayvon Walker's workout.
Hey.
I mean, it shows on tape. I mean, he's a freak on tape. So I don't know. People should have saw this coming.
He's just got to develop as a pass rusher. That's all. Just got to develop a little bit of a pass rusher.
That's why you do TV, man. Remember your radio buddies. You know what I'm talking about, bro?
Yeah,
remember
right.
where you came from.
I bet he makes more money for this episode than he did for his TV spot.
No. Next thing you know, he's going to be wearing a tie and stuff. We ain't going to see him anymore. He's out.
Get out of here.
Thanks to D-Lo, who subscribed on Twitch. Let's go, baby. What a beast. We're on all the platforms. King Shadow Ojabo goes to Ravens to team with Owe and his old DC.
Yeah.
We shall see.
They were teammates in high school.
Yep. We will see.
Well, all right. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, guys. I love you both.
Brian
Keep watching
Broaddus.
that tape, man. Keep trusting your eyes, boys and girls. Trust your
Bryan
eyes.
Broaddus, 105.3 The Fan, 2 to 7, Monday through Friday, Central Time, home of the Cowboys, and the great Dane Brugler from The Athletic. Go click on his mock draft and subscribe to The Athletic from that page so that Dane is a superhero. That would be that. Thanks, Dane.
Much love, guys.
And as for me, I'm just a guy that works on the internet. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. If you have super chatted, thank you. If you have joined the channel, which you can do from the main page, thank you. If you have subscribed on Twitch, thank you. Your boy is trying not to have to sell the house. I quit my job. I don't want to sell the house, but it's getting kind of close. It's getting kind of iffy, getting kind of dicey out here. But thank you all. And remember, you have no idea what anybody's going